Is it actually worth it spending your time making your own fidget toys? If you're chronically online like me, then you've probably seen the rise of fidget toys and squishies and slime, and that's all like making a huge comeback. But sadly, I no longer have any of my fidget toys. I kind of got rid of them, or they got ruined. Right now, there's like so much hype around squishies and fidget toys, and they're getting kind of expensive and like hard to find. But online, I saw a bunch of different people make fidget toys at home, and I have this box, and inside I have a bunch of different little fidget toys that I saw online and I tried to make. This video is me showing you the fidget toys I made and how I made them, and letting you know how hard or difficult they are. But is it actually worth it spending your time making your own fidget toys? One of the biggest kind of fidget toys DIY I've been seeing is paper squishies. So the first one I made is, I of course did the iconic butter squishy. This is really popular right now and I absolutely love it, and I'm gonna show you how to make it. To start making your butter paper squishy, you're gonna need to find a template online. I went on Pinterest and just looked up butter squishy paper template, and it would be way easier to just print it out, but I downloaded the image and then I'm just tracing it on my iPad. I'm tracing it instead of printing it because I'm trying to save some printer ink. Then once you have it all drawn out, I then cut it out, but I would not recommend doing this. I would recommend first coloring it in and then adding the word butter on it. But if you already have it printed out, then you wouldn't need to worry about this, because after you color it in and you write your butter and stuff on it, then you're gonna wanna put tape on top of it before you cut it out. Since I waited to put on the tape after I cut it out, then I'm gonna have to like re-cut out the tape part, so it's just easier to tape it and color it in first and then cut it out. I'm just using packing tape for this, and the packing tape, we're using this so that when you squish your butter squishy, it doesn't just like rip apart, because or else paper is just not gonna last. Right now you can see that I'm adding my tape to it and that I'm having to recut it out again. Once your design is fully cut out, then you're gonna take the little tabs that you cut out and you're gonna tape it or glue it together, whichever is easier for you. This takes like a little effort at first to like figure out how to exactly get it to hold its shape, but eventually you'll get it. But before you tape up all the sides, you should leave one of the end holes open. This is so you can put your stuffing in here. I just used leftover stuffing from a Woobles kit that I had, and I just shoved it in there. You can put as little or as much stuffing as you want. It just depends on the squishy effect you want to it. And then once you have all the squishy filling in there, then you're gonna tape the one side in, and then you're done and you can play around with your new butter squishy. When I first thought of paper squishy, I didn't think it would actually be satisfying, but this one's like actually like satisfying to squish. I then decided to make a marshmallow one, but here's this one. This one's not as squishy because I was using leftover stuffing and I ran out of it, and so I was like, I'll throw tissue paper in here, and then tissue paper does not get soft and squishy. For the marshmallow paper squishy, it's essentially the same process as the other one. Here I downloaded a template I found on Pinterest and I'm just tracing it out. This time remember to color it in and then put the tape on it and then cut it out. Once you have all the pieces cut out, then you're gonna tape this circle piece together and you're gonna put one of the top pieces on there. I would say this is more difficult than with the butter squishy, since the butter squishy is a rectangle. The circle, you're gonna have to like add tape to it and then cut the tape and then fold it so that eventually you can get it around the surface. And then once you got one of the sides on, you're gonna add your stuffing. And here I didn't have enough stuffing, so I used tissue paper. Would not recommend that. Just buy more stuffing, and then you're gonna tape the piece back on, and you have your beautiful little marshmallow paper squishy. With the paper squishies, I do think they're worth making if you actually make it correct. And you can make it so much easier by just printing out the templates to make them. But I would recommend the shape of the butter squishy. I just really like this one. The next one I made is a poppet, and it's a little strawberry. And watch, you just like pop this back and forth. And this is honestly so satisfying, but let me show you how to make your own little poppet. For the start of your poppet, you're gonna need some cardboard, and here you can pick any object, any fruit, anything you want for your poppet to be. I decided to do a strawberry because I thought that would be cute, but you can do like an avocado or an egg or whatever you want. So I'm just gonna cut out 2 pieces of cardboard that are the same shape, and you want to make sure that your little piece is big enough so that you can cut out a hole in the center, and that's where your poppet part is going to be. To do this, I found it easier to first stick a knife through it and then cut around. Cardboard's a little hard to kind of like cut and get the right shape, but eventually you'll get something good enough, and then you're gonna trace the circle that you just did onto the other hole so that you have the same shape. Then I'm gonna paint my little strawberries. I'm choosing a pink paint that I had. You can use paint, markers, or cut out paper to match the size, just anything to make it nice and pretty. And then I took a paint pen and drew the little holes for the strawberry. To make the actual poppet part, you're gonna need a piece of craft foam. I had this light pink that I used. First, you're gonna trace your strawberry center hole, and then you're gonna wanna cut out a hole that's like slightly bigger than the little hole so that you can be able to like tape it to the sides and have room for it to pop. And so it can actually pop, you're gonna cut it to just like the radius, and then you're gonna glue it together, but you're gonna fold the piece over a little bit so that you get kind of a dome shape. And once you have your dome shape, then you're gonna hot glue it onto your little strawberry. And please ignore how disgusting my hot glue gun is. It's been through some stuff. And then you're gonna set it in and put the other piece on top. The reason you cut out 2 pieces of cardboard is so that you can kind of hide the seams of this little design. And my strawberry looks a little wonky because it doesn't have any leaves on it, so here I'm tracing the top of it, and then I'm cutting out a little piece of cardboard that I'm gonna glue on top. But I'm first painting it green, and then I'm gluing it to the top of my strawberry. And once again, I made 2 of these so I can put one on the front and then one on the back. Once you have that all together and it's all dried, then you have your beautiful little simple dimple. With the poppet, I would recommend making. It's really easy to make, and it's actually pretty satisfying to use. The next thing I made are these little s'mores fidget squishies, where you squish up and down on them. This one's absolutely already fallen apart, so this one was kind of a fail. So then I redid it where I didn't put the clay over it, I just used my little foam piece, and this one actually squishes. To make your squishy fidget marshmallow, you're gonna need a piece of foam. For this, I used those like basic triangle beauty blenders that I had. You can use any kind of foam, that's just what I had to work with. And since that's already like a rectangle shape, you're gonna trace that onto cardboard, and you're gonna cut out 2 pieces of the cardboard that are the same size, and these are gonna be your graham crackers. And so I painted them brown, and then I added some little dots so that it looks like a graham cracker. And with my piece of foam, it has like the little holes for where you rip it apart, so I'm just taking some hot glue and gluing it in so that it doesn't fall apart. And then you're gonna glue it onto your little cardboard s'mores graham cracker pieces. And I know the s'mores is missing a piece of chocolate, but for the sake of the squishy, it was just easier to not try to put a piece of chocolate. And then to make it cute, I just drew a face on it because it looked kind of bland. And at the beginning, you saw that I had it covered in clay. I just wrapped clay around the little foam piece, and that just didn't work. I wouldn't recommend that. The girl who made a video of it did work, but not for me. Here is my beautiful little s'mores squishy. I would say if you don't add the clay on it, then it definitely will be successful, and I would recommend making. And the last fidget toy I made is so satisfying, and I honestly love it. And it's this little button thing. This one's so easy to make and so satisfying. Just the sound. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna show you how you make this.
For your button clicker, you're gonna take a toilet paper roll and you're gonna cut out a piece of it to whatever height you want your clicker to be. And then you're gonna wanna cut out a piece that's a little bit shorter than your actual outside of your clicker. For this piece, you're gonna cut one of the sides and then you're gonna make it smaller and glue it together. This is so that it can actually fit inside your little cup. And then I'm gonna trace out the little circle and add my top piece. This I'm just hot gluing down, and then I'm gonna trace it again so that I can put a piece of paper around the outside of the toilet paper roll, just so that it looked nice and glossy and is less likely to fall apart. I took my packing tape and I put it on top and around the sides just to make it look kind of more finished. And then to make the mechanism so that it can actually pop up and down, you're gonna need to cut out two long skinny pieces of paper and you're gonna glue the edges of those together, and then you're gonna fold them back and forth over each other so that when you pull them apart it's like that accordion type style. And here for the base, you're just gonna glue a piece of paper on there so that you can actually put your little accordion paper mechanism in there. Here I'm showing you that your top piece should be smaller and should be able to fit in there, and that it should also be able to sit down enough with your accordion piece of paper. But then you're gonna glue the piece of paper to the bottom, and then you're also gonna glue it to the top piece of your clicker. And then I just glued on a little handlebar to make it look like a mug. And once that's done, then you can click it.
I honestly did not spend that much time trying to make this one really aesthetically pleasing. It's supposed to resemble a matcha in a mug, but it's just, I could pop this all day. I would highly recommend you to make this one. In my conclusion, DIY fidget toys are worth it. They're actually so fun and easy to make. It's a fun little thing to do that will get you off of your phone, and then you have something satisfying to play with afterwards. I hope after this video you go out and make these squishies and that this video gave you some sort of creative inspiration of things to do. If you want more DIY content, I have other videos posted. And thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.